So that's good to go.
I can't, it's ready. But they go.
Yeah, that's what we were. Fairly like in April, there's sort of 2 week period where the race there.
So they're ready to start my, hollow myself now. Yeah. Yeah, the first game's at Flagstaff, I've never been to Flagstaff, so. That'd be fun, I've never been there. And then my brother, my other brother-in-law just had my niece, so we get to snuggle her, they're in Phoenix. Oh, that's.
Mayor, that clock's a little slow.
Yeah, okay.
So it is 5:59.
Alrighty.
Almost ready.
Yeah, sorry, no gavel, it's all right.
You can use a donut.
Okay, so
Fair, I know the kind of, fair guy.
and it's 6 o'clock.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and joining us in this change of venue. This is our Des Moines City Council retreat on July 30th on 2026. I will remind folks that we are recording and that this will be posted live to the website sometime soon. I wanted to reiterate and just also add a couple of wishes for today. We had talked about at the end of our early year retreat, was that the end of January or?
End of February.
End of February, sorry, thank you. About how getting into a different space, getting down on the floor at the same level as everybody else, and having the opportunity to have some ad hoc or informal conversation in small groups really added to our communication, getting to know one another, and realizing that we are going to be working together as a team for the next 2 years, if not longer. And I wanted to continue that opportunity to make sure that we could be a cohesive group that understood the strengths and weaknesses that we brought to the team, the different communication styles, your outlook perhaps even on life in some ways, knowing that we're heading into our big B budget season, which means we're gonna put together a budget for the next 2 years, not forever, but for the next 2 years. And I really felt like many of our conversations at that retreat really honed in and focused on the fact that we have a lot of alignment when it comes to budget. Some of our wishes, our desires, being able to confront some of the realities as well. And I really find that that's a time that if we could find our cohesion, that would be one of the topics. And it's also one of the bigger challenges that we have as a council that we have direct control over. Like I would say, in the top 2 things that we do, creating the budget is probably number 1, making sure the city manager is here and functioning as number 2, right? Because budget will go on whether or not we have a city manager. So because of that importance, we sat down and said, let's come up with some more opportunities for us to come together as a group, have some chances to share, get to know each other, and then really be able to drill down on some of the work ahead of us when it comes to that big budget season. So thank you.
Oh, well, you referred it, you know,
Okay, sorry.
So, I mean, you all saw my email today. I know this is a little different. There's some apprehension of what's gonna happen. Why are there clocks? This is something that really I heard from you all universally in February is you wanted more opportunities for things that weren't a strict agenda, more opportunities to spend time together in a way that didn't feel so formal. This is a tool that I did use for many years in Texas and we enjoyed it. I thought it gave us a common language to say Robin is a red and we all know how reds are, you know, in a loving way, because everybody's multidimensional. If this is not your jam, give me that feedback after. We'll make sure I'll take that into consideration. But it's really just meant to be an opportunity for you all to kind of talk about communication and decision making in a way that I think is a little more fun than just having a conversation about governance. So Kelly is our facilitator today. She's been doing this for a long time. And so she has been through the ropes and knows what apprehension is, you know, how to deal with that and everything. So we're gonna turn it over to her.
Amazing.
Thank you. Not only do I know how to deal with that branch, and the reason I know how to deal with it is because 17 years ago, right around, not to age myself, I was working at Microsoft at the time and in the midst of a pretty important major project, at least important to me in my career. And it wasn't going great. It was not going well. I was interlinked with a stakeholder and he and I were really having a hard time getting it done, getting all the things that needed done to be successful. But we were interlinked. If I was going to win, he would win and vice versa. And it was not going well. And our team decided this would be a good idea. And I had a lot to do. I had a lot to do and I was not in the mood to sit around and do this. And so I came in not only apprehensive, but frankly a little just angry about it all because who has time for that when the ship is sinking? And so I sat down begrudgingly and lo and behold, in front of me, kind of across from me at the table was my stakeholder. He was joining us, his team was joining us as well. His name was Bob. And I don't know if you have someone like this in your world, but, and I'm not saying in this room, maybe outside of this room, but this is who Bob was to me. I opened up my Outlook in the morning and I would scan my meetings, scan my calendar, and I would get to his name. And I was tired just reading his name. Like his name just made me tired. And the reason it made me tired is because I knew exactly what that meeting would look like because that is how that meeting went every single time. And it was like Groundhog's Day. And we were in a rut and in a pattern that was not serving us well. When I changed my mind about a tool like this is when by the end of that time that Bob and I had in a room like this one, we had an opportunity to disrupt our pattern and change the conversation and actually understand that where he was coming from, his lens and my lens were actually the perfect two lenses. If you look 360, if you look all the way around it, but we were just seeing the frustration. We weren't understanding the strength that was behind both. And so not only did that change the trajectory of that project for me, I believed it changed my trajectory at Microsoft. Ultimately, as I saw this in action a few years, as years went by, I decided to leave Microsoft and believed so much in this that I left Microsoft to open my own firm and Insights is our tool of choice that we spend the most time on. But this isn't, to me, this is not an Insights discovery workshop. It is an opportunity for you to disrupt whatever you need to disrupt. And that's not saying you're broken. I went to a doctor recently and he's running all the tests and I'm like, I don't understand why we're running all these tests. Like I'm not sick. And he said, Kelly, you don't have to be sick in order to get better. And what I want to offer you today is that I haven't yet met a team that's getting important work done that can't get better. Haven't yet met them. And so I do think the next few hours that we have together, we have an opportunity to be able to change the conversation. I believe my purpose now in the last 15 years is to accelerate teams that are doing really important work and to help you get there faster. So your strategic plan, by the way, I watched your February workshop, so got a good feel. I wish I could watch and have a video of every team that I'm about to come into. That would, I'm gonna start recommending that from here on out. But had an opportunity to, as the mayor was saying, have an opportunity to hear what you were hoping for when it comes to what does better look like for this team. What does firing on all cylinders look like and really having that cohesive alignment look like? And so with that opportunity, my hope is to help you accelerate that. This is just letting you know I've been doing it a long time and you're in good hands. That is all that is for. This is just to let you know that there are a lot of local companies as well as worldwide companies that use this as a tool. They consider it a good use of their time because of everything that I just said. It helps them go faster. It is, to me, the execution of slow down to speed up. And so that is what we are going to spend our time in here doing. So here's our agenda. We're going to start by understanding this lens that we're going to use today, which is the lens of color. But we're gonna have you really begin to think about who you are as a communicator, a decision maker, a council member, a staff member, and how that interrelates together. So we're just gonna have an opportunity to do that. I do have 21 pages all about you that I will offer you as vocabulary for us to have this conversation. I am not expecting, by the way, that these are going to fully and wholly describe you. It is a computer-based system. I don't know about you, I'm not ready for a computer to tell me all of fully who I am. But it sure does give me a head start of a lot of sentences of language that I could sit down with someone else who wants to get great work done with me. And we would be further along than when we started. So that is what we will build to. You're not gonna get it right away, though. I know, I'm glad, good, that is where I want you. And if you're not excited, I'm still gonna make you wait. And the reason we make you wait just a little bit is because there are a couple of conversations that I have actually found are far more valuable before you have, quote, the answers, if you will. So we're gonna have a couple of those, and then we will give you the profile we'll give you we'll probably combine a break and a profile read for that. And then we'll spend our time really thinking about who are we, who are you as the Des Moines City Council. I grew up in Iowa. You will please forgive me. I'm gonna practiced all day long in the car. I had 2 hours to get down here. I'm like, Des Moines. It's like I worked really hard because we don't say it that way in Iowa. And so I'm gonna.
Where you are from?
I live in Des Moines, Iowa.
Uh-huh.
I'm also French, and I think Des Moines is the right way to say both cities.
Yeah, okay, all right, Pierre, we are aligned, we are aligned, but who am I to say? But I probably will slip, but I'm gonna try real hard. We're gonna talk a little bit about, what some of this looks like when stress comes at us, pressure comes at us. What do we do about that? How do we recognize it, both in ourselves and in others? And we won't walk out of here without at least having a conversation around so what? What are the next steps? How do we want to make sure this 3 hours wasn't just about this 3 hours? Like your strategic plan time, you ended up with something that lived on. And that is my hope for you here today. So that is our plan. We will be done by 9 o'clock at the latest. Does that match your expectations? Yes, okay. I am very comfortable. It will not be 9:01, I can promise you that. So
Jeremy will be very fast.
yes, it will not go late. I can promise you it won't go late. I won't promise early, but I promise you it will not go late, because valuing your time is important to me. Pull a couple of these things from your strategic plan, from the work that you did when you were together. And a couple things that I just think you have an opportunity today to be able to think about, and that we've got our collaboration, sharing our expertise. So how can we increase our collaboration, be able to really make better decisions together? Wanted to make sure that the expectations you had for that workshop, I helped use those to be able to make sure that this was a good use of your time as well. So I worked to structure the agenda accordingly along with Catherine, so thank you for your help with that. But the idea of understanding how we come to decisions, there's a whole half a page in your profile about decision making for you. And my hope is you have an opportunity to now have just again, some other language around how we come at it. And then finally, this idea of a sense of team and how to be an exceptional council. Like I said, my hope is that these 3 hours will accelerate that for you. So that is our plan as we move to help accelerate your movement toward that strategic vision. In other words, I will gauge success if you could reach your, is it a 5-year plan? 5 years? 34 years? Okay, great. So I'm gonna be watching and looking, and if you get it in 3, then we've won here today, right? So we'll get it in 3, that's accelerating to me. But go into the, how do we get to know and understand each other, get to know each other, have some of that collaboration. What I'd like to start with is just a very fast opportunity to be able to do that. So here's what I'm gonna have to do. There's a card on your table. I'd like you to turn it over, grab a pen, You'll notice there's a question at the top of your card. You all have a different question at the top of your card. So your mission you probably won't get to everyone. I'm only gonna give you about 5 minutes here because we got an agenda to get to. But your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to ask as many people your question at the top of your card as you can. So you have the same question you'll keep asking everyone in this room. It would be nice if you let people ask their question as well, because they'll have a different question. Just jot down maybe just a couple words on how people answer and their name. So at the end, you can kind of scan it for some themes or surprises or anything that's notable to you. So I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. My only rule is for this one is I won't let you start with anyone on either side of you. In other words, let's just like shake off the donut and there you go. Ready?
Okay, what is very much?
Yeah, raising good.
Okay.
And, I'm figuring out.
Got it.
Perfect.
What's your greatest motivation for in your daily life? Go ahead.
So ideally motivation,
Yeah. This is the most exciting you've done in the last.
that's rough. I think, yeah, I am motivated to do some form of continuous improvement and how I can do this. Because my question is, being greatest they how can we make it better?
For some improvement.
Yeah. We can say working for 20 years. Yeah.
So, sure.
Good enough? Okay. Hey, Jay. I'm gonna get on the. What fascinates you?
Oh, sure. What is the secret? What do you believe is the secret? Actually, not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finishing school. Work degree, you know, I would not self. What is
the most exciting you've done the last 12 months?
I went through a big career change, started coming out the other side of that, where, you know, if you had changed the answer times, it's really tough, that's been that one.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think.
See, I didn't know.
What fascinates you?
No, actually, we had, my father. Greatest motivation for you is jail.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. No, you didn't.
I did.
Wake up, I get up, you get up every night. No, well, don't.
He was like,
Yeah, problem.
Awesome.
all right.
We'll take the guy to the room, Jason. Here, what do you got?
Who's one of the most interesting individuals you have met? Yeah.
Right.
Hi, kiddo. I did not. From the technology. And he said, essentially, my house, I know this guys. What do you know? I call her.
You've got a minute left, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Oh, nice.
6, 4, 6, 5.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, my great. It's like my. And then it's very long. Yeah,
10 seconds. 10 seconds. And finish with the last person, take a seat.
But you leave this a secret.
Alright.
Jason, what is the most exciting?
Yeah.
Okay, then who?
Done.
Done.
Done, no, I didn't think you would.
That's hilarious laundry.
Same. That's what it's all right.
Nope, done,
We're done.
done, take a seat, done.
What serves as the greatest motivation in your daily life? You have 5 seconds.
Time, she says time.
Person.
Oh, right.
I'll write it.
Okay. So. Well, how'd you find those questions? How were they? Good, they're good. They're all right? Okay, all right. Yeah, all right, provocative, fair enough. At least they're not questions we always bring up at, dinner parties, are they? Not all the time anyway, so. I'm curious, did you notice any themes as you look through, or surprises, either one, themes or surprises, as you look through all the answers? And you think about this cohort, what's interesting to you?
I had a lot of people answered their job.
What was your question?
Oh.
That's all right, can't read your mind, we're gonna work on it.
If you had to name your greatest conquest in life thus far, what would it be?
Okay.
Being in this position for this.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Which says a lot, says we're holding this carefully, this role that we've been put in, you know? What else? Go ahead, Gene.
I've got, who has had the biggest impact on your life? And it's all family. And I think that's, pretty important.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting to see the things that when we think we're so different, that at the core of it can really be the same. So, yeah, thanks, Gene. Jeremy, go ahead.
Who is one of the most interesting individuals you have met and why?
Mm.
And, 2 were family and 2 were celebrities.
Okay, interesting. Interesting, yeah. I know I'm dying to know who they are, but I won't ask. I'm not gonna ask. All right, very good, very good. What else? Yeah. good.
Yeah, I had, what is your unrelenting passion?
Mm,
And 2 people said their kids,
okay,
and the rest, all of them, men.
all right. Continuing to hear some of that family theme in this room. Yeah. Any surprises?
Catherine.
Me, surprising answer on yours? Robin, or Robin.
What was your
I just
question?
a better answer. It was, what is the most exciting thing you've done in the last 12 months? And she said laundry, but I think what that really means is having a break.
Yeah.
She works like. Probably just meant it's really nice to sit down for 2 hours.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
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 You can come to my one.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're gonna go run her store. Here, you gotta go run her store. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can get your break.
Yeah.
I like it. Cohesion already. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, work is done. So here's why we did this activity. The purpose of it is, and I believe your facilitator last time even said this in the room, but it has been shown over and over again that teams that know each other as humans outside of whatever work it is they're doing actually get better work done. We are willing to put our discretionary effort into figuring something out with another human if we see them as a human. as opposed to just a seat around the table. And so the more of that you have the opportunity to do, and I know you have a lot of just challenges in being able to do that, but the more of that you can do, the better your opportunity as far as the work that you achieve. So that was the purpose. What's always interesting to me, though, is already as an observer, your preferences are starting to show. They're starting to leak a little bit. For some of you, when I announced that you all had a different question and that, you had to get up and go ask everyone, I saw a little blank in your eye and you were ready, like you were getting up and you were ready. I saw some of you get to that very first person and you're like, I'm not in a hurry, I don't need to get to it, I just have to follow up, right? I just want to know more. Like you were willing and wanting to linger with that one person. And I saw at least one of you, but I will not call you out, who looked up at me at least 2 or 3 times like, are we done? Can we sit down? Like, what are we doing? Can we sit down and just get back to work? And then there are some of you that didn't want to sit down because you didn't get to everybody. So you couldn't check it all off the list. People leak to you all day long how they wish a meeting would go or a decision was made or how they were heard or listened to or understood. They email any of it. They leak that information to you all the time, just like you did in this room. The question we're going to be considering today is, are you paying attention to the signals other people are sending? And perhaps even more importantly, are you doing anything at all different? And hear me super clearly here. I'm not talking about changing who you are. This is not a fake it till you make it, pretend you're something. That is not at all what I'm talking about. I am all about the authenticity piece. But Insights would actually say it's a 5% shift to be able to adapt to connect to someone else so they can hear you better. It's just a step towards someone else. But very often, especially when we're doing important work and we're under pressure and time, we're just busy doing it in our default mode, the way we like to get it done, because we're just moving. Which, by the way, works really well for the people who are just like you, but doesn't work very well for anyone else. So part of what we want to at least understand in here today is, how can we hear each other better? Like, what is that 5% for each of us, so that maybe when we're talking, it's actually landing in the room and we're able to do something with that. So we have an opportunity to hopefully be able to pull that to the forefront as we move forward today. All right, so today is about, like I said, how do we hear each other better? How do we have more impact and influence with each other? How do we be able to make that happen? Just be thinking today, what do you wish you understood more about the way other people in this room show up? When you're making decisions, when you're in a meeting, when you are, what do you wish you just understood more? And just think about 1 or 2 questions you might have in your mind that you think would help you if you understood that about them. And then maybe think about, what do I wish other people understood just a little bit more about how I show up? Because I think sometimes maybe it gets misperceived. So be thinking about both those things, because we'll have an opportunity for you to talk to others. I'm not going to read this whole slide. It's just letting you know, this is a preference tool. This is an energy tool. This is not a skill-based tool. This is not about what you're capable of or what you're good at. This is about what gives you energy or drains you of energy. And what gives you energy or drains you of energy is often quite a clue as to how you like to communicate and how you like to get your work done. So that is what all of that is about. And then my last slide on this, why we're here. This one is one of my favorites because it's job security. There was a percentage of business issues, and obviously I chose a stat that supports me being here today, that are due to the lack of interpersonal communication skills and not the competencies of the parties. So there's different numbers that come out about this. I chose the one that I liked, but they're all, what do you think is that number? So if you think about, it's not the budget, although I know that's very important, trust me, but it's not the technical piece that's getting in the way. It's not the budget that's getting in the way. It's this, the stuff we're talking about today. What percentage do you think that I'm about?
75%.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, yeah.
I'll say 92.
Thanks, Bonnie. 87. 87. You thought you were swinging for the fences too, didn't you? And it's still 87%.
Price is right.
Yeah, right? So even if you're like me and you see stats like that and you're like, show me the proof on this one, how much research is done that? What if this were only half true? What if it's only half true? I worked with an executive team last week. And they're in the midst, it's a biotech company, and they actually have very, very strong data to support the fact that they have research to be able to solve a really difficult, awful cancer for children. And this is what's keeping them from doing it. It's not the research, it's not getting it to the FDA, it's this. So what if it's only half true? Think about how much more we could get done if we could remove some of it. Remove some of it. All right. Before I get to color, which I'm gonna do in just a minute, I do think it's super important to just remind us how complicated this idea of perception is. We're not gonna solve it today, but I would like to have it in the middle of the room how complicated it is. So if I were to call perception, if I were to say that it's just the lens within which you see the world, would you agree, as you think about all the things that make up your lens of the world, that it is different from everybody else in this room? That it's unique like a fingerprint, would you agree? Even if we brought 100 people in this room, would you agree that your lens on the world is different? Why? Tell me some of the things that make up our lens of the world. I just want to have them, we could list 100, I just want some.
Experience.
Thank you, Jeremy. Experiences.
Education.
Education.
The values your parents taught.
Yes, values your parents. What else?
Trust,
Thank you. Or lack thereof. What else?
skill,
Thank you.
stereotypes.
Thank you. Now we're rolling.
Got it.
Thank you, or not. Our neighborhood, the 5 people we surround ourselves with, the news we choose to watch or not. We could go on, culture, I mean, we could go on and on, right? Female, male, age, like, it is endless as we think about our experiences and we think about what creates that lens. Is it no wonder? I mean, I think all the time, how do we get anything done, given how complicated it is? And so part of what we just want to open up is the idea that it is very likely, given all those different lenses, that you are going to misunderstand what someone is saying or why they're saying it or their intent behind it. And so the anecdote that we talk about a lot, and I would spend all day here if I could, but I will not because I can't. But the anecdote we talk about when it comes to this idea of if we're all different, what do we do about it? And it's that idea starting with that assuming positive intent. We call it giving it MRI. So, you know, kind of like an MRI machine, we're scanning the body, we're scanning for the reason why someone might do that in a positive way. Why would there be a positive reason why they might be doing what they're doing? So applying that MRI. Love this one. It's a George Carlin quote. Have you ever noticed anyone driving slower than you is an idiot? And anyone going faster is an idiot?
Well, that's me right there.
Yeah. I mean, even the people doing it just like you, they kind of box you in, so that's not good either, right? So it's that idea of even as we think about decision making, the people going faster than us are reckless and they're not paying enough attention to the data. The people going slower than us are keeping us bogged down. We're not getting anywhere. We're just navel gazing. Part of what helps us get to that acceleration point that we were talking about is when we understand the strength and the benefit behind both. And we find a way to move forward based on that understanding. All right, the last one. This one looks like an Adele, so I had to put it out, but I also think it's useful. How deep is the mud? Kind of depends on who you ask. Because we all go through the same stuff with a little bit different of a lens. And if I'm not stopping to understand why that lens is different than that lens, then it's really difficult for us to have a productive conversation. So if we were to put in different language what we're doing here today, it's to stop long enough to understand what lens we bring as we come in here to do this important work. Thoughts on perception before I get to color? Anything that I need to slow down on or any comments, concerns? We're okay? All right, I'm gonna go to color. You might notice two things on this slide before I get going here. One is that it might be your perception or your lens that we spelled the word color wrong. Some of you might think we spelled it right. Anyone think we spelled it right? Okay, thank you. Or that it's neutral. The Queen's English is what you're seeing here. Our Insights is a Scottish-based company, so you're gonna see that. The reason I point that out primarily is because you're gonna see that throughout your profiles. There'll be an S where you would like a Z, there'll be a U where, so just note that. The other thing you might notice is this word energy. And I just want to remind you again, all of these ways of getting work done, you have to do in order to be a successful council member, staff member. Some of them you enjoy and they give you energy, some of them exhaust you and they drain you of energy. It is really helpful for us in this room to know which is which. We all have to do it, but it's helpful to know which is which. All right. I am going to start, I'm just gonna do a quick description here. I'm gonna have you think while I go through this description, think about what sounds like you, what gives you energy. If you could do work in one or two ways all day long, how would you get it done? Insights would say your top two colors most heavily impact how people experience you and how you experience others. So as I describe these, I just want you to be thinking about that. So here we go. I'm gonna start with fiery red. If you were to experience someone using a lot of that fiery red, it's very based and focused on valuing time. Competitive, determined, strong-willed, purposeful. It's looking at that goal and thinking how and what is the most efficient and best way to be able to get to that goal. But ideally, it's with a little bit of pace, a little bit of speed. Because we value time so much with our fiery red, often our communication style is a bit more direct and to the point. Conflict is something we would prefer to go at and through rather than go around it because it is the most efficient way to get to the other side of it. If you think about the work that this council has to get done, and you think about when any of us in this room have to dial up our fiery red, what I'd love for you to do is just take a 30-second hit and talk to the person next to you. When does this council, what are the activities? What are the things? When do all of us need to dial up our fiery red? Because we all have all four. It's just paying attention to when we need more of it. When does this new room need to be a bit more single-minded, direct, straightforward, strong determination, active, seeking an outcome, tangible outcomes? 30 seconds, just a quick chat. When does this room need their fiery red?
What's that?
On project.
Oh,
Yeah,
very done a while.
Yeah.
Okay, look at you, both done every fire red. You're like, yeah, got it. All right, let's come on back. I love it. AJ and Bonnie are over here and they're looking at me like, yeah, we dialed up our fire red. We're done over here. Let's move. All right, so when, and in fact, I love the tagline on our these blocks. We'll talk about the blocks in a little bit, but for now you can just look at the taglines on each of the colors. You sure can. The red tagline, be brief, be bright, be gone. Right, let's stop talking about it. Let's stop circling the issue and let's get her done. Let's do it in an interesting way. Let's get her done. Yeah. When does this room need to come to the table with a little bit of fiery red as a focus to get her done? Give me some very quick examples. I don't want to linger too long, please.
Executive session.
Executive session, thank you. What else? Ken?
Budget.
Budget, thank you. What is it about budget that needs our fiery red?
Knowing what that end number is gonna be.
Thank you. Yeah, a very specific tangible outcome. Thank you. What else?
when it gets close to 9 o'clock.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, anytime we have like a same day deadline, we've got a deadline on the clock, our fiery red for most of us starts to pick up. We feel that little pitter patter in our heart. When my fiery red dials up is when I'm sitting in a meeting and we've been talking about the same thing in the same way 52,000 different times. And my fire red is just like, I don't even care what we do anymore. Like, let's just get to the other side of it. That's that fiery red that just is like, let's do something productive. All right, great. So we need our fiery red to be successful, yes? Foreshadowing, I'm gonna say that about all four. I'm just letting you know, it's about to happen, but just been thinking about that fiery red for you. And if that is a preference for you, do you think? In this model, the most different way of getting work done from fiery red, the opposite to fiery red, is what we call earth green. If you were to experience someone using a lot of that earth green, you'd experience more caring, encouraging, sharing. It's more listening. It's more collaboration, partnering. Do you notice I calm down? For some of you, as I calm down, your shoulders might have dropped a little bit. Yeah, thank you. Reason to be so excited, Kelly. Just like take her down. It's a preference, right? It's a preference to just, it's getting work done in a calmer way. It's more relationship focused, where our fiery red is more task focused. We all do both. What do we tend to see first? With our green, we tend to see that relationship first. When, as a council, do you need more of that one-to-one relationship, deep listening to understand, partnering, harmony, consensus building, making sure all perspectives are heard? 30 seconds, go.
After the work is done.
No. Fair enough, fair enough. When else? When else? See if there's any more.
When we're talking to the public, our constituents.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
I mean, they come at us red.
And you gotta come back.
I gotta find the green.
Mhm.
Find it
Mhm.
somewhere in the bottom of my pocket.
Cause if you brought your red, that's not gonna have anybody feel heard, right? And it's not gonna help the situation. Yeah. What else does this room need? Based on the work that you're here to do.
I think when you're having to come to a compromise.
Yeah.
And where is that gonna land?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, what are the terms of the compromise gonna be? Like,
Yeah.
how do I get to a place where we can both agree?
Yeah. And how am I able to make sure that everyone at least feels understood as we move? Because a lot of people will dig in my experience, on a perspective, if they don't feel that they've been heard. Like the biggest reason people repeat themselves, if you've got anyone in your life, even at home, if you feel someone is repeating themselves over and over and it feels like Groundhog Day, it's very likely because they still don't think you've heard them. And that translates to environments like this as well. Okay, so consensus seeking, when else? When do you just need to calm down what's happening?
When things get elevated to the
Yeah.
point where you're no longer communicating.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
it's arguing.
Yeah.
Arguing. You're
And-
not doing it.
Someone, and when any of us use our green energy, there's great mediation that often happens here. Because our green energy is really good at being able to see both sides of the situation. And so when we're tapping into our green energy, it really has us kind of calm down a minute to look at all sides. All right. Good. I'm curious so far. Between red and green, so these are opposites, right? Kind of between red and green, as you think about what gives you more energy, if you could do it that way, is it more like tasks, let's have a productive way forward? Or is it relationship first, calm down, listen? Like, where do we feel like, does anyone have a strong preference as they feel that? There we go, there's a strong preference. You're feeling, did your heart beat a little faster on the red words? All right, there we go. Put your note together for a reason. Barry?
I actually think that in order to get the task done, you have to include some green.
Yeah.
And it's just about finding the balance. We need to,
Yeah.
it's not one or the other.
I would argue, as you'll hear me say, that we probably need all four of these color energies in order to get any task done well. But also what I heard in that, Harry, is I heard your green energy coming out in that moment, right? Like the lens of the best way to get the task done is to get it done together. Any other thoughts? Then on and on. And we do the last two dynamics here, sunshine, yellow. You were to experience someone using a lot of that yellow energy, sociable, dynamic, demonstrative, enthusiastic, persuasive. Our yellow energy, you'll notice, has a preference for a faster paced working style, which is what it shares with fire red. Prefers to make it go that way. Oftentimes that will equal a faster paced speaking style. So that's a way to kind of spot it very often. What yellow and green share is a preference to get work done through a relationship first. The difference is with our yellow energy, there's that energy with the one to many. With our green energy, it's that getting energy from the one to one. The other thing on its own with our yellow is optimism. We can dream it, we can do it with our yellow energy. It's all about the vision, the big picture, what's possible. Don't tell me about all the ways it won't work. Tell me about what is possible in this room with our yellow energy. So when you think about new ways of trying to get things done, getting everybody on the bus and moving forward, getting them perhaps even excited about where you're going, when does this council need to do that? When is it useful to bring our yellow energy forward as a collective? Thank you.
When we're talking about a big project and
Yeah.
trying to communicate why that's a good thing to other people who may be skeptical.
Gotta paint the picture. Yeah. What else? Thank you.
I'd like to think I'm yellow.
Are you tapping into your sunshine right now? I like it. When do you think through that yellow?
I
lens?
do think like that at times, because also working with all the different colors, you can't just come at everything, right? But that is, a bit of a sales pitch, like you said, we're explaining it, we're telling them what's possible, it's not, I am a very literal person, factual, unless it's actually something that can be done, then don't bother me with all of the sales pitch, right? But I see the use of it and I see the need for it.
All right.
I think a group like this and pointing to staff for sure is your yellow helps in coming through when you're in a tough time. When you're in a tough situation and you need to say, hey, it's gonna get better, or we're done with that now, we're doing this now, or like, I know something happened last week and it was really rough. Here's, how we're gonna pull through.
Honor the history, looking forward looking. This is that forward looking sort of aspect of ourselves that we can tap into.
I think it's also just like enthusiasm for the city.
Mhm.
Like we all have things we want to have different here. We all have our grievances, but at the end of the day, I think people want to see that are excited to be part of this. And I think that's very sunshine yellow. Yeah.
Right. So we need this to be successful as well, yes. I didn't ask it on green. We need our green to be successful as well, yes. All right, good. All right, last one, the most different way of getting work done from our sunshine yellow. The opposite to sunshine yellow, or when we start to talk about humans, we'll say perfect complement to sunshine yellow is what we call cool blue. If you're to experience someone using a lot of their cool blue, it's more cautious, precise, deliberate, questioning, sometimes shows up a bit more formal, task focused. Our blue is all about getting it done right. Rework makes no sense to our blue. Let's gather the facts, gather the details. Let's put the system in place before we press go so we can finish strong, which is a great strength for our blue energy. And I'm asking a lot of questions along the way to make sure we're doing that, which is why give me the details is the tagline on the blue. When does this room need to, in order to be effective, be objective, analyze, precise, pay attention to the detail, get it done right? the last one. Yeah,
Budget.
go ahead.
What do you, but
In budget, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example, yeah.
Or something we're doing for the first time as a new council member. Everything is first time, but when we discuss how things have been in the past, it feels a little more yellow. And we're doing something for the first time, there is no frame of reference, so some of the things we have like that.
Like, how do we put a plan together? How do we take that step by step to execute? Got it, thank you.
I think, when we're making decisions on zoning and, policy, that, I mean, all the details, you know,
Yeah.
coming through the weeks, finding out where we're going to be and how it affects.
Yeah.
Everything.
Thank you.
we're working on a big project right now, it's the strategic plan. And I think we have to be, you know, asking a lot of questions, just trying to figure out. Push here, there, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's our headline of our blue is asking really good questions. I felt a little energy around the blue energy in this room, so, all right. We need all four to be successful. These are some additional words that we threw up there for the, 4 color energies. Before I move, I want to. Well, I'll just use these words. What I'd like you to do is think about what I asked you at the start of me showing these colors. And think about for you, which one of or two, like what resonates with you as a color energy or a color that you wish you could do that way of working. Like, if we could do it this way in every meeting all the time, it'd be amazing. Like it's a preference for you. What do you recognize as a preference for you? 1 or 2? And then what might be easier sometimes, I like clarity, yeah. What might be easier sometimes isn't always even what we like to use, but it's what we hate doing. Sometimes that pops out to us faster. You can have either or both conversations. Turn to, just turn to a partner, turn to the person next to you, doesn't matter. Have that conversation. Bring it in.
Well, I mean, it's like, it's a last. I mean, yeah, so I mean, I think that okay.
Yeah.
All okay. Yeah.
That's how, yeah, I mean.
Oh, right.
And then, again, now, like, as far as you're not almost on, and it's like, you guys know, yeah, so I just do that. Something like us. Okay, get there, yes, it'll take us time. As we plan. It was all, snap red yellow would be like, you guys need my yellow pens. I think they giving it away. You like bullying. All right,
I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds to just tap into where you're at on it.
But I got your social media.
Yeah, my feeling.
Very scientific.
Red, yellow, and.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, are we all right? I know you had three, are you okay though? All right, I know we're moving at a clip today, so I'm dialing up all my reds to keep on that. Yes, I am. All right, did any questions, observation, anything that you want to ask me about before I move on? So this is what we call, and I pulled this from our leadership work, by the way, so you notice I changed some of the words, I just changed it into how us as leaders might show up in each of these four colors. There's leaders that obviously come together with all the combinations, so that's just a different flavor of leadership style. We call these the colors on a good day, which is what we've been talking about so far. A little more foreshadowing for you there on where we're going next. Before I go there, any questions for me on the good day stuff? Or as you were thinking about the four?
I actually do.
Please.
The red thing, you used the word competitive in the earlier slide.
Yeah,
I found that striking because I don't associate
Yeah.
necessarily. I wouldn't put that in the red block.
yeah, fair. Two things that I would offer as a possibility here that I have noticed. So one, very commonly, I will find people that really resonate with red energy other than that word. If I were to say to you, are you quite competitive with yourself? Do you always raise the bar for yourself and try and like UVU kind of situation? That red energy can show up very internally as well, not just externally competitive with others. That's one. Two, my other nuanced answer would be, part of this is none of us are any one of these things. Like, we're not gonna walk out of here calling each other blue people. That is not what we're doing. Like nobody, no smurf in the room that I can spot, right? No one is all of one thing. In fact, when we get your reports, you're gonna see how much preference of all four of these. You all have all four. It's just a different level of preference. So it could also be that your level of preference for red just doesn't have that competitive fit in it. There's lots of possibilities. Great question, love it. What else? You have a question? Usually I say that you get your reports right around when you think you're never getting your reports. So if you're starting to feel that way, just know that that means it's really close. It's coming. It's coming. All right. This is, as I mentioned, the colors on a good day. What we know about strengths is every great strength, when you do too much of it, when you overextend it, becomes a weakness. Has a negative impact on the room rather than a positive impact on it. And the hard part of it is, it's the same core strength. You just did too much of it. They're very closely linked. I'm gonna just flip these over real quick. We're just gonna consider briefly. I'm not gonna dwell on that day today, but we're gonna consider briefly what that looks like for us. I'm gonna have you think about two things as I flip these over. What might you, under pressure, stress, in a moment when there's pressure, stress, which one of these phrases might resonate most with you as far as how you might show up under pressure or stress? And the second thing I'll have you think about as I flip these over, which one of these phrases, so I'm not looking for a color on either of these answers, it's a phrase, which one of these is most difficult for you when other people show up with that version of a bad day? Okay, so here we go. Hard and red on a good day, fast forward, purposeful action. You put or do too much of that, overextend it, or put it under stress or pressure. What it can look like is being too direct, dismissing others' opinions, being coercive, controlling, maybe interrupting, making rash decisions, taking over. Usually not a whole day, but it can be just a moment, right? It can be a moment. And often our intent hasn't changed. We're still just trying to reach the goal as efficiently as we can, but our impact has. Same with our green on a good day, listening, collaborating, partnering. On a bad day, might not take a stand, try to please everyone, lose direction, be indecisive, maybe submissive. I find oftentimes, red, as we think about it, oftentimes it's a little bit more visible of a bad day in a room. But would you agree with me that too much voice and too little voice can both have a pretty big impact when you're making a good decision or trying to make the best decision? They'll both have a negative impact. Yellow on a good day, if we can dream it, we can do it. On a bad day, might look a little frantic, over above others, get sidetracked, squirrel, lose focus, lose interest, take on too much. Blue on a good day, let's get it done right. On a bad day, realizing, getting stuck, being intellectual deadlock, adhering to the protocol, nitpicking, drowning in detail. It's that moment where if you've ever been in that meeting and someone says something that just, you know, isn't quite right. And you look down, look back up, like, yeah, this is the mountain I am dying on today. And in you go, and you take the whole meeting down with you, right? It's that just like, I'm going in on that one fine point and I am not letting it go like a dog with a bone. That's that blue just on a bad day. All right, so I'm gonna ask you to answer 2 questions with your partner, the same partner you were talking to about the good day. Which is this, as you think about council meetings, as you think about like where good day, bad day might, or bad day might show up for you, which one might accidentally show up, just in flashes maybe? When you're under stress or pressure or something has to get done, it's not being done, like which, and again, I want a phrase. So the phrase for me would be, I will probably lose a little focus. Like when things start to get a little hairy, I will kind of check out a little bit and I'll start to lose focus. So that is what it is for me under stress. And the one that is hardest for me when other people show up with it is that adhering rigidly to protocol. Like, if you come in and tell me this is how we have to do it, it's the rules, I mean, I love it. Have to do it, it's the rules, here's the cover. And over we're going on that. Even if I agreed with you when I walked in, like it's gonna trigger my bad day. Like I just like a bad teenager, you know, like I just, why? Why can't we expand our thinking? Why? That's an example of what I want from you. I don't want yellow and blue as the answer. I want the phrase. Got it? Okay. So I'll put the big one up again, because can you remember the 2 questions? Because I think it's easier to read it this way. Is that all right? All right. So we're not going to linger, but just a couple minutes. Talk to your partner. Where might it show up, or where might other people perceive it as showing? Ready? Go.
A phrase that speaks for me. Oh, it's
I remember that. So I know they all get like, I have a nice structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're done tracking. And then, thank you. Yeah. And then noise do that. Difficult for me, this creates a bad.
Great.
Getting sidetracked, but yeah, people are like, it's like, really kind of. So, getting sidetracked, another thing else. I guess me.
Nice to be back about.
Yeah.
Kelly? How the phrases go. What resonates? Like,
Yeah.
what are you wearing this time?
Trying to show up in stress. He's showing up. It doesn't matter. But
and then. Okay. So, on the And yeah.
Where we possibly could do this.
I think we wrapped it up.
I like it. We got it wrong.
You ready to get there? I find in this thing where It's like, I don't hate you.
You may bring my never pen up.
See, I still don't myself. So I feel my soul.
The funny thing is that you guys, even if you have many clients, it just trends.
Easier not to talk. Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, so we like, they all excited. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea where.
Maybe it's like it's like a first day here. It's out, next. And so what are we doing? Someone's like, oh, I think.
Matt, how can I shoot held it?
With that, and I'm like, you're just hurting me.
Yeah, all right, I'm going to, does anyone need another minute, more minute? Are we okay? Okay, all right. Okay. We are not going to linger here, and I definitely am not gonna ask you where you show up on a bad day, but I hope for yourself, you were just starting to notice a little bit where that might show up, what might be the impact on others, what that might look like. But what I would like to get a very fast read on, we have to do it kind of fast, because I need to accelerate us here, but I would like to just get a feel for what showed up kind of most often when it comes to the hardest thing when someone else shows up with it. So I'm not asking you to out yourself. I'm asking you to, like, when someone else shows up with this phrase, like I said it here in Originally the Protocol, it's just hard for me. It triggers my bad day when people do it. It just does. You might still do it, but at least you'll know what you're doing to me, right? So I would love to just understand as we, like, what was interesting to you about what you chose? What's hardest for you? When some-
Green. Oh.
No, not a whole color, not a whole color. Which phrase? I want a phrase.
Indecisive,
Why?
because that's exactly opposite of me.
Okay, and so what I want you to pay attention to is what happens to you, Robin, when the room starts being really indecisive? What happens to you internally or externally?
Shut it down.
Okay,
Done, let me know when it's over, or what
Okay.
happened.
okay. So are you more likely to
That's
go?
the truth, that's-
Yeah, fair, fair. What else is hard?
Losing direction,
Losing direction. Why?
guys, I mean, in my personal life and in council, I think we just need to be decisive and stay in the right direction and get to the point.
And if you feel like we're meandering or losing direction, what happens to you internally or externally? If you don't mind me asking, you can pass.
Frustration,
Yeah,
being overly direct.
yeah. Yeah, this is what I find so fascinating. If you've ever been in a meeting where it just becomes like a death spiral and it almost gives you whiplash, you're like, what just happened? And part of it is because we're like, as soon as we start to lose direction or be indecisive, now all of a sudden, now we're flipping into, oh, and so now it might make me be more direct. Well, did anyone have being too direct is something so now someone else is triggered because being too direct triggers them, dismissing others' opinions. And then it just goes, right? And part of what can be useful is if we know that it is really difficult when Jeremy feels like we've lost our direction, like we've lost our goal, or when Robin feels like we're being indecisive. And we start to see, we're gonna talk about stress if we have time at the end here, but if we start to see some of those stress tells, it's like, at least I have an understanding of what's going on over there. Right? Like, this is an extra hard spot. What other extra hard spots might happen in a meeting for anyone else in this room that hasn't been named that you want? There are things that are hard.
It's awfully quiet down here.
Yeah.
I would say it's just us.
Yeah.
I would say it's nitpicking.
Nitpicking. And what is it about nitpicking that's hard
Because
to
it
do?
feels like by the time that kicks in, I'm like, I got it. It went bad. You're unhappy. I got the message. Like, you can stop.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just get very like, I heard it already.
And is it hard for you to keep listening at that point? Do you feel like you've heard it already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. You're mad. Like, you're upset, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you don't keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Heard.
Yeah.
I do love that in chef, like heard. Got it. Yeah. Anything else?
Anything for the troublemakers over there?
I would probably say getting stuck in the loop, the intellectual loop.
Intellectual deadlock? Mhm. And why?
Like, it probably is kind of the same thing to me, that's almost being indecisive, but we're just not at that complicated.
Yeah, it's just showing up in a different way, kind of, yeah. Anything you want to add, Bob?
Anybody down here?
Okay, so I'm sorry, I asked Bonnie real quick and then I will go to, dismissing others' opinions, why?
I just lose focus and shut down.
Yes.
Not heard.
This one comes up a lot, dismissing others' opinions in the work that I do. And what's fascinating to me, you could say this about all of them, is it's rare that in a room, in a meeting, that someone is coming up and saying, Bonnie, that is a terrible idea, I dismiss you. Right? It's super rare. It's way more nuanced than that. Which means half the time I don't even know that I'm doing it to someone. What's an example of a nuanced way that we dismiss opinions?
Like talking over.
Talking over.
Yeah, like, but look over here, what's your opinion, not listening to.
Mhm.
And I do ramble a lot, so maybe that's why, it doesn't really happen.
Not even respond.
Not even responding. So I put something out into the room. And no one's even gonna pick it up. No one's even gonna acknowledge that it's there, and I put it out. And so we move, right? And our goal is still just to move, or it's to analyze, or it's to whatever it may be, but instead what's happening is we're just getting that bad day impact. And it's not often that it's our intent. It's not often that it's probably someone's intent to dismiss an opinion, and yet they have. Or to be indecisive, and yet we have, or, intellectual deadlock, but we have. I do a ton outside of insights. I do a ton of work on trust. There's a huge body of fascinating work around trust, like behaviors and what works and doesn't work. And there's a ton of research around it that I find fascinating. But if I were to bubble up, because I think almost all research can kind of be bubbled up to a headline, when it comes to what do we do about it, so what? The headline that I love, that I just offer, because over and over and over again, what you'll see is that what can impact trust heavily is because we assign the wrong intent, because we can't see it. So I'm making up a story about why you're doing what you're doing. And so I'm perceiving that intent and I'm running with it without checking it. And so what I love, the antidote to that, is to get in the habit of just over declaring your intent. And the trust research would show that that is useful. Like, you know what? To be able to just say, I know we haven't yet made a decision yet. My goal here is to hear from 2 more people. And then we're going to circle back to, like, I'm over declaring why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know we're bringing in 1 more piece of data here, but my reason is because I think we've got a hole here, and then we should move. Like, I'm over declaring why I'm doing what I'm doing. So anyway, I don't know if that's a set note, but okay. All right, I don't want to linger on that day. Anything else that you think would be useful for this room to talk about on that? All right. Okay. All right, so this is jumping ahead, you're not doing this. The last thing that I wanted to just show you briefly, and then you will have your reports here in less than 5 minutes, 3 minutes. I mentioned earlier what insights would say is that your top 2 colors most heavily impact how people experience you and you experience others. So there's a whole set of graphs in the very last page of your profiles that just show your intensity of preference for each of those 4 ways of getting work done. Well, blue and green, some of you will have both blue and green as your top 2. And all that's indicating to you is that is a double down. I lived in Vegas for a while. Double down in introversion, because both your top 2 preferences are on the introverted side of the wheel. Some of you will have your top 2 in extroversion, same thing. That much more likely people experience you to speak, to think. That much more likely people will experience you to pause and think, and then it's just more likely. Nobody is all the time anything, but. All right, and then the other thing I would point out, some of you will have your top 2 color energies at what we call the top of the wheel, which is an extra double down on task focus first. Some of you will have an extra focus, double down first on relationship focus first. That's the bottom of the wheel. That's what yellow and green have in common. We all want both. We all want relationship and to make sure that we're enjoying each other and getting work done together and doing it in a way that's collaborative and cohesive. And we all want to get to the task. But depending on where our double down is, sometimes like we want to check in on human first, because that will get us the best work done, or we'll get the task done first and then check in on the human because that's the best way to get the work done. It's just a different lens. All right, that's it. That's all we need. The very last thing I'm going to have you do, and I need us to be as fast as you can so I can give you a break and the profiles. So we're going to all dial up our fiery red, regardless of how much preference you have for it right now. And we're going to try and do this in 5 minutes. And it's going to require a lot out of you. So here we go. Step 1, write your name on the top of this piece of paper that says watch my back. Write your name on the top of that piece of paper. And hand it to the person to your right. Thank you. All right. My goal in 5 minutes or less is to have you give feedback to everyone in this room as to how you have experienced them most often on a good day. Bad day is a whole nother class. We're not giving feedback on bad day, on a good day. So as you think about what you will do, here are your instructions. If I have Catherine's paper right in front of me, I'm going to think about all the meetings I've ever had, Catherine, all the emails that I've ever had, all the pings and the phone calls and the texts, all of the everything. And what I'm going to think about is, how have I most often experienced her in those moments? Have I most often experienced her like, have focus, let's go? Or asking a lot of questions? Or is it that like, let's calm down and hear, listen and calm down? We're all doing all 4. What do you see most often? Or is it, you know, that enthusiastic sunshine yellow? What you'll do is, if it's very clear that it's one that you really see, you'll put your name on Catherine's sheet right there in that yellow box. If you really see, because a lot of us do, 2 coming through pretty strong, again, good day strengths. These are the strengths we see in each other. Then I would put my name right here. So I would write Kelly on Catherine's sheet to tell Catherine, because Sherry knows her own name, to tell Catherine what lens is giving her feedback right now.
So wait, because I use my name, I'm confused. So if I have Harry's, I write down my name, what I think he is?
Yep.
Okay.
And to be really clear, it's sort of right. It's not what you think Harry is. It's in your context with Harry.
Okay.
Because would you agree, we all have different context with Harry. So it's your context with Harry. How have you experienced him most often from a strength-based perspective?
I'm confused.
Okay.
To write my name on the side part of the wheel.
Just in
where
one
I
section?
receive, Yes.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's it.
No,
That's enough.
yeah.
No, that's it. And straight faced, good day, good day, good day, all right? And we're gonna do it as fast as we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where does he go out?
Yeah.
Or you watch.
I'm ready, I'm ready.
Keep laughing as fast as you can.
I'll start talking.
There we go, as fast as we can. You are writing your name over and over again. You keep writing your name. I'll let you think. Pass as fast as you can. There is no right or wrong answer.
Okay, thanks.
And don't shut off your brain and just do what the person behind you did.
Wait for this of those pages. Goodness.
I guess I should write it. Your name.
I know, it's hard to remember because you see someone else, you're thinking about someone else, and then you have to write your name. So just do the best you can. Your name,
Everybody.
You're doing great, everyone. Killing it, doing great.
Well, Bonnie's doing all the work for me, so. it's-
Bonnie, I'll help. I'll help bring these over.
My yellow is.
Yeah, I'll help.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
We spent all night together.
Thank you, oh my gosh. Oh, Robin.
When you get the person who is sitting on your right, when you get that, in other words, it's the last one, right? When you get that person, I want you to just turn over and keep it, okay?
So we
So-
get our.
So you will not get your own yet. You're just gonna turn it over. So you're going to hold when you get, kids. Before you hand it, you'll write on it, but then you'll flip it over to the last one first.
Very.
I usually do listen.
I'm holding it. What happened? Okay.
No, thank you later.
I normally charge for my autograph.
Okay, and then turn over, once you've completed Robin's, turn it over, once you've completed Jeremy, turn it over. Here, y'all do that.
This is not. Yeah. I'm not a red, no.
When you get yours, it comes.
Yeah, that'll, yeah, you can hand Robin hers, but keep it face down and don't look at it, that's the point. You can have yours back, just face down, don't look at
I get mine
back.
back.
How do I know if I got it back?
it. Here,
Yours back.
Good care of you. Here's gonna take good care of you. So I don't want you to see what is on there yet. Does everyone? That's yours, so you can have, you can hand JC his, but. All right, so Mary, I changed it a little bit. So I'm handed, but just don't look at it. All right, here we go. Here is the thing. Do y'all remember that slide that I showed up earlier that was the kitty looking in the mirror at the lion? There are ways that you think you're showing up in a room, even as on a good day, best self, and people are experiencing something different. And that's just data. That's just information for you. So I find that this is just as valuable, if not more so, than this. This is how you kind of what you know about yourself, and you've known yourself your whole life. So I expect this to be pretty accurate, or at least a large part of it. This is just in the context people have with you, what they've experienced, what they see most often on a good day, the good stuff. What I'd like you to do before you look at that paper is I'd like you to take your blocks, and I just want you to order your blocks based on what you think is on that paper. As you think about in this room, the perception of what people have experienced most, because this is the context, this is the perception, but whatever you think you have the most answers, in fact, I just saw that. Whatever you think you have the most answers on top, second, third, and the least amount of answers on bottom. Ready, go. I'm gonna have you guess.
Okay.
Once we're there. Did everyone make their guess? All right, go ahead and take a look at what you got.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Wow, yeah.
Jeremy's I like it.
Wait, stay on our board. Yeah, I like it. And then what I'd like you to do is just have a 30-second chat with the person next to you. What surprises, if any, do you see? What is exactly what you thought? What's interesting? Ready, go. Just have a chat. What do you see? What's interesting? Ready, go.
I don't think Dean doesn't really have.
Wow, that's, yeah, no, that's a lot. But that's the one on the edge. I didn't hear. Yeah, you did enough.
That's part is.
I'm not surprised. You guys are so. That's hilarious. Yeah, what do you think? Wow.
No, I am equal with a lot of that.
Well, you actually, well.
See.
me too.
I really can see this.
No, yeah.
And stack it off.
But for them.
Perfect.
That's why.
Compliment. Perfect compliment. Perfect compliment. All right.
I have some.
Catherine, I think you and I put together.
I know that. I also like, you're at this.
It's so weird.
Like, did I get you as a red green? Or like that combo?
Red, green.
Yeah, that's what everybody, yeah.
Weird.
Oh, we were supposed to put the down.
No, that's just how I feel.
All right.
Categorize each other the same.
Yeah.
Listen, if Catherine had come to me and said, Kelly, you have to choose one. You can either do this or you can hand out profiles. Pick one. You have to choose one.
Have to do one.
One activity. If I could only have you do what you just did, or give you a 21-page profile, which would I choose? And it would feel like an obvious answer because this is, where it's what we said.
Himself, the other is how.
Totally. Which is why I'd be,
More important to you, is how you see yourself, or whether how others perceive you.
Yeah.
And that's the value system.
that's the best. I think there's a year's worth of conversations just in that one piece of paper alone. I think the reason we have you put names on it, it's a great place of curiosity to be able to understand more. Hey, how do you see my blue energy? No one sees my blue energy. Tell me more about that, right? So I would offer to keep that piece of paper with your profiles for, if you're willing to keep the paper profiles for just a little bit, let that marinate a little bit and look at it again in a couple months and just kind of keep letting it marinate. And it could be really useful information for you. I'm gonna hand out the profiles. Enough is enough.
I think we should take a break.
No, we're taking a break with the profiles.
Okay.
It's all happening at the same time. So we're going to take a break and read profiles. So that'll give you, I'm gonna take, and we'll take, if I did a 10-minute break and 10 minutes to read profiles, so 20 minutes total, would that be okay? I don't need you to read the 21 pages. What I do need you to do is to start with the overview, which is pages 5 and 6. and just underline what feels true to you. But even more importantly, what would be useful for this room to know? If there is anything. Then I want you to focus, the decision-making section is in the overview. So I just want to make sure you pay really careful attention to that decision-making, because we're gonna linger there a little bit. I want you to just pick a statement that you would love for this room to know about you on these other 3 pages. Value to the team. What's a communication do statement? Like anytime you're communicating with me, I would love it if you send me an agenda first. What's communication don't? So I just want you to star the ones that are most relevant to you, okay? So I just want you to kind of look through and say, what's useful, what's not. If there's things that you're not sure match, you just put a question mark next to it. Like you don't have to own it, just put a question mark. All right? So 20 minutes would be, someone tell me what time we'd be coming back?
7:50.
7:50, fantastic. So on the dot, 7:50,
I'm getting that decision.
AJ, team. Again, we're looking for the things that are useful. You can let go of the things that aren't.
Red. Good reminder. Back for a good reminder that we are on tape. And welcome back.
Welcome back.
All right.
Okay, here is how we're going to craft very intentionally this next, hour and 10 or so minutes. What I want to do is give us all an opportunity to answer the so what, which is, what did you read out of there that might be useful as you think about yourselves as a council? As you think about what it is you're here to do, what might be useful to have a chance to be able to explain a little bit more? And how I'm gonna frame this, because there's a lot of us and it takes a little bit of time, but I think it's useful for us to be able to hear from each of us. What I wanna do first is I'm gonna hand out a blank piece of paper. And all I want you to do on that blank piece of paper, my goal here is twofold on the piece of paper. It's to get you really laser focused, because there's a lot of information and sentences in your profile. So it's to get you really laser focused on what you want to talk about with the team. And number 2, it's at the end of today, I will collect this and send it back out to the team as an artifact. So you get a little bit more, robustness that, my goal is, that you can use this in the year ahead for yourselves as you think about how to get your best work done together. So on this blank piece of paper, all I want you to do is, I'd like you to write your name at the top, and you can do it in regular pen, or if you want a marker, it's totally up to you. It's just for you right now, and then you'll hand it to me. Put your name at the top. And don't worry about the color order yet. We'll do that at the end here. What I want you to focus on right now is underneath your name, I'd like you to write 4 statements that you would think is useful to talk about to this team that are true for you. So a decision-making statement from approximately page 6, a value to the team statement from approximately page 9, a communication do, and a communication don't. So decisions for me, move forward, sitting still gets us nowhere. Value to the team, I bring innovative ideas. My do is to be on time. My do not is to do not lead with detail. I want the vision first. That's an example. We're just writing a sentence, and then we're going to have a chance to explain more what that means as we go on. If you want to skip any of these, you may. It is all up to you. What questions can I answer? I want to do this relatively quickly because I want to get to the top.
You misspelled color. So.
That is your, yes, you're right. You are correct. I did.
No, are the colors what we thought or what?
That's a great question. I didn't, on the very last page, in the conscious persona graph, that left-hand graph, and I'll send you all some more information about the graphs and all of that. So on the left-hand graph, which says conscious persona, that is your order of color. So whatever is highest, you would put first, second, third, and fourth. The slash mark is where that 3 line is, so anything above or below. But you can just put the order,
So you're just wanting us to transfer sentencing here that we said that.
but to get really focused on one.
Right.
Yep, correct. Yeah.
One sentence.
One sentence for each of those sections, yep. And y'all, I just realized you don't need to put your color order. I can do that for you. I have the team. Just forget about that for right now. Yeah. But it's okay. Yeah.
Follow the rules.
And we're gonna do this in just like 4 minutes. So. Do not overthink it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so this page 6, so like what we run down in we'll just need to forget this is. This is
okay.
it's 1 second. They will invite you, but they can move to stuff for this group to understand how the person answers.
Okay.
Maybe something like explain something like useful. So.
Okay.
Yep. How does your brain when it comes to decision?
Anyone need help? We'll take about a last minute to get all that down. Looks like we are just about there. And by the way, I fully acknowledge that it is very likely that in this room, someone has written in their profile that they would like time to process information before having to talk about it. And I definitely violated that. So thank you for giving me just kind of your first read, and just know that you also, as you marinate on this, this week, you can send me a revision if there's something you would prefer to kind of communicate out to the people as you think about what's important to you. So, here is what I would like to do. We're gonna, before we have that conversation, I'd like you all just to turn to the very last page. I'm gonna give you a pretty abbreviated, just description of the profile of the graphs. But I'm happy to send anyone more information if you want to go deeper, but just for the sake of time, I want to get to our conversations. The conscious persona graph, that is the left-hand graph on that very last page. The conscious persona graph is a mathematical representation of how you filled out the evaluator. You were given 4 sentences. We asked you to tell us which one was most like you, least like you. You had to rank the other 2. If you're anything like me, it was quite frustrating. Part of that is the magic, apparently, around the psychometrics that helps get as many valid sentences as we can. But however many of those, it was most like me, equal to color, we gave that a value of 6. Least like you, we gave a value of 0. Wherever you rank the other 2 is the value we gave it. So you'll see here 0 to 6. So this is just translating those sentences that describe that color, how you resonated with those sentences, and that is your conscious persona graph. The conscious persona graph is the only thing that we are going to use in this room today. So that's where I want you to just take your focus. This line here, we call the midline. Anything above the midline, we will call inclined usage for you. Meaning you're probably pretty inclined to get work done in that way. Others are probably pretty inclined to experience you in that way. Anything below the midline, we will call reluctant usage for you. Meaning you can do it, but it might not be your favorite way or your first way to get something done, and you might be a little bit more tired after it's over. Very briefly, but I'm not going to dwell because I do want to move. Your conscious persona is your intentional self. It's like I'm intentionally coming in to get my best work done for the Des Moines City Council, and this might be how I most often show up. The less conscious persona is a little bit more of, I call it my like slippers on, default mode self. This tends to show up most often 2 different times. Just a little less intentional. It's when we're really comfortable doing something. We're just kind of in our flow, in our jam. Then this graph might show up, or it's under stress or pressure. We're not thinking as much as intentionally as we show up, and we just kind of flip or react. Then what people might experience that from us, and it's a bad day form in the message. The preference flow is just what happens when you move from that slippers on or default mode into your most intentional self. It's all this is not an authenticity thing. This is just, what am I being intentional about dialing up to be successful in this room, or dialing down, or maybe it's even. I think about it as, you walk into a room or you're driving in, and that moment when you step out of the car where you're like, here we go. That preference flow is just kind of showing, like, what are you dialing up more of? Maybe it's more of your green because you're coming in to listen a little more than you might naturally, right? You're being really intentional about it. So that's what that preference flow is trying to show. My offer to everyone in this room is if you have questions, you absolutely can reach out to me, because I know I'm purposely cutting this part short, because I don't want you to hear me talk anymore. I want you to be doing the talking. So I'll make sure you have my info when we leave, and anyone that wants to reach out, I'm happy to jump on a Zoom call or answer a question meeting. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. Okay, for now, will you, in your conscious persona graph, that left-hand graph, will you just have your blocks now represent that left-hand graph? Good day, your preferences. Highest on top, second, third, fourth. By the way, I have, these blocks are yours if you want them to keep. You are welcome to leave them behind if you do not want them. How people use them very practically is they have them on their desk, like at home or in the office, either one. And they have it kind of represent their top four. They do it one of two ways, like they have it represent themselves and it's there as help for people that walk in, like, oh, let me just keep in mind, right? I use mine when I know I really need something that day, like this is my focus for today. Like I'm bringing all my blue today. It's gonna take everything out of me, but I'm gonna use all my blue today. So I've even had people in meetings, probably not appropriate here, but even say, okay, everyone, today, like we're dreaming. Today we're dreaming. And they just use this as a visual. Like this is what we're doing today. So they're a nice visual. Kids like to play with them. I mean, they're yours to keep if you want, but it's primarily for you as a reminder of this work of how do we take a step toward each other to get our best work done. Okay. Everyone's got 4 colors, conscious persona graph. Okay, we're gonna do one thing and then we're gonna have our conversation. What I would like to do is have you, I put 4 laminated signs up on the wall. I'm gonna have you just go bring your blocks. That's all you need. Just bring your blocks. And actually, that's not true. Bring your blocks and your piece of paper that you just wrote on. This one. Yeah, great. Okay, what I'd like you to do is take your blocks and this piece of paper and go stand at the color of your top block, your highest preference. Sorry.
AJ, look, that.
Got all myself. There we go. Oh man, travel. What, walk. Oh, wow. Okay, I don't think it used to be this version.
Nobody's.
So, this is not the full story of this team. It's just your dominant color energy. And like we said, we're not all blue or all red or all yet. So it's not the full story, but it's a story of this team. What's interesting to you?
I feel like a lot just became clear. Shut
Yeah. If we were to put this team wheel on the head of a pin, where is it tipping? Yeah, it's tipping that way for sure. And then I'd also say it's tipping very heavily to the top of the top of very task focused. Yeah, very, yeah.
And then there's one.
Thank goodness. Yeah, we need as much diversity of perspective as we can get. And so, yeah. What else is interesting?
Nobody's green.
Okay, so we don't have anyone that leads with green energy. Does that surprise you?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, doesn't surprise you? Yeah, okay. All right, well, let's do this. By the way, this is just kind of a view. This is what it looks like, just your dominant color energy, if you were to take. So, we like to get it done right. We like to get it done right. Get it done right, get it done now, get it done right, get it done now. That's what I'm feeling in this cohort, yeah? All right, let me ask you a question. Looking down at your secondary color energy, your second block, by a verbal yes or no, would it be disappointing to you if I now had us all just go sit down and the only representation you got to make to your colleagues here is just of that dominant color energy? Would that be disappointing to you to have to go sit down and not represent that? Yes or no? Yes, to most people it would. Because our secondary energy tends to flavor heavily how this one shows up. Blue followed by red is wildly different than blue followed by green. It just is, and we could do this all the way around. So, let me ask you one more verbal question, yes or no? Is that secondary color energy important to you in how you get your work done, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's not call each other blue people. Yeah, we're more than that. It's all more interesting. It's more interesting than four things.
Or purple.
Or purple, there you go, or purple, all right. So I want you all looked at who was in the corner with you. Right now, what I normally do is like now look across the wheel at your perfect complement. Poor Bonnie's got all the eyes. Yeah, so this is like a perfect complement when we think about how can we think all the way around something. Let's go see what happens when we move to number 2. Let's see who goes with you, who doesn't. Go to your number 2 color energy. Go stand, move to the second.
Yeah.
And see this guy.
All right,
More balanced.
it is more balanced. It is more balanced. Is it true that we don't have any green energy as a preference on this team?
No.
It is not true. It is not true. We don't want to ignore that. It's definitely there. What else do you notice? Anything else interesting in our secondary move? It's more balanced for sure. JC, you look like you're gonna say something.
Yeah, but I think you'll get to it, so.
Well, now I feel pressure. Okay, so what about, is anyone standing now in a corner with someone that wasn't in your corner before? New people in your corner, yeah? Yeah?
No.
So you were all in the same spot? Okay. It can be really useful to, if you're in different spots and now you're for the secondary, because it usually matters a lot. But this is a great place to meet up. Like maybe we don't agree on whether we should go deep or go wide, but we can sure agree that we should do it together. So let's just, maybe we need to meet up there first and then go back to whether it's deep or wide. All right, looking across the wheel now at your perfect complement. Across blue to yellow at your perfect complement. Right, some would say opposite, I would say perfect complement. Who do we need most to help us think all the way around something? This is that secondary version of that.
And they were over there earlier, so they were up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonnie, did you have anyone across from you 2 times?
Those guys.
Okay, so that is like a new best
I don't have
friend.
two guys.
Yeah.
There before.
Yeah.
They were across me earlier.
Yeah, but now they're in the same spot, yeah. So there's a whole page in your profile about each other, if you saw each other twice, both times, so. Like, how can we really, it's called working with your opposite type, and how can we really leverage, that's a double down. It might help you all as well too, when you think about these opposites. The question is, the high performing team question is, are we taking advantage? Are we allowing for all of these strengths to be able to help us move forward what we're trying to move forward for the city of Des Moines? Like, are we allowing for all these strengths to get into the room? Okay, anything else you notice that's interesting? Great, what I'd like you to do is go back to your dominant color energy one more time. We're gonna do one quick thing and then we're gonna sit back down. Back to your dominant, back to your top.
Oh, I'm lonesome over in sunshine yellow.
Okay. This is going to be a whip around. We're gonna talk more deeply about the decision-making statement, but right now, I just want you to hear. Jeremy, my hand is to you. You're gonna need it. It's all right. I want you all to look at that value to the team statement you wrote down. Look at your piece of paper, value to the team. And we're not gonna explain anything. We're not gonna expand on it. For now, I just want to hear it, and I want you all to just hear each other as you think about the unique value you're each bringing into this room, and how can we get even more of it? So I just want you to really, I want it quiet, and I don't want you to wait for your turn to talk, because all you have to do is read the piece of paper. You don't even have to come up with anything. Jean, I'm gonna have you start. Will you read your value to the team statement?
I am reticent about expressing feelings and being rather slow to make decisions as I want to gather all essential information before acting.
I wrote consistent and dependable.
ensures decisions are made well.
Maintains team focus on objectives. Building list of alternatives.
Logical analysis determination.
Thoughts, no matter how final they appear, are subject to last minute modifications whenever new info arises.
Contributes vigorously and enthusiastically.
Promotes ideas to, with, and through others.
Always looks for ways to improve current customer.
Very accepting of others and desire for happy relationships.
So the question is, how do we bring that to the table to be able to do more? How do we bring this to the table to be able to make these decisions that we're about to talk about? So I want you to think about that not only for yourself and your value to the team, but also what you just heard your colleagues say. All right, take a seat. All right. This is y'all, by the way, when we take everything above the midline for you. So we still, even when we take all of it, but it's much more balanced. If you think about, and I'll send this out too, so you have it. This is a way to really think about how are we accessing our diversity of thought. What I'm gonna do now is focus us in on, because you have a lot of decisions up and coming that you need to make, not easy decisions. And so what can be useful is to understand what our brain likes or needs or is asking for when we're making decisions. And so I asked you to write down a statement under decision making that would be useful for this room to understand more about your decision making. This time, I'm not just going to have you read it. I'm going to have you read it, and then I'm just going to have you say a little more. Like, how does it show up? What else would be useful for someone to understand? In other words, you can take a couple minutes to just expand on why this was what you chose for people to understand, why it would be helpful. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to just, for those of you that need and would like a little more processing, I'll give you a minute to think about that. We're going to go around and just open up a discussion around what we need, what's important to us, what's hard for us when it comes to hearing other things, just decision making. So that one sentence, but I just want you to think about why that's useful for this room to know. Okay. All right. Here. Lily, put your blocks kind of in front of you so that we can just, all we're trying to do is understand even faster the lens within which you are speaking so that it helps us hopefully get an even richer understanding of when we sit around a room together to get things done. So here's how it'll look. You'll read your statements exactly as it's listed, just the decision-making statement. So that very top one. Then you'll explain why it's important for this room, what would be useful for the room to know about that. Who would like to go first and model for us? And I'll help. Thank you, Harry. I appreciate you very much.
Since you kind of called me out, I'm the slow decision guy.
I didn't call you out.
Noticed that somebody here said that, so I prefer to make slow decisions because I need to see all the available alternatives. Like in fact, how you arrive at the best decisions. It is by looking at what the alternatives out there. Sometimes that's data, sometimes it's hey, it's the problem solving, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But I think that it's helpful if people know that.
Yeah,
Uh,
why?
um, in my recollection, so as imperfect as that is, I'm the only one that's ever moved, and I moved twice to reconsider decisions. I voted on the winning side one time, and I know Robert's rules require, you have to be on the winning side in order to move for reconsideration. And change my votes on two things, on council, because I got more information. And, sometimes I don't think we get all everything understood and processed fully when we're making decisions.
Thank you. I am going to give, and I am keeping our track of time, so don't worry, but I do want to, if there's questions or like curiosity that just, we'll keep it pretty brief. I'll allow about a minute of follow-up from the room. If you just want to know more, if you don't have something, then I will put on what I think is someone is thinking in their head, because I've been doing this a really long time, and I'll probably ask a question on that. So does anyone have a question or clarification or anything that would be useful? Yeah.
Harry is correct. In my tenure, he is the only council member who has ever reconsidered a vote twice, and it is two of the best moments in my tenure. The notion that we have only reconsidered votes twice seems to me to be a little ridiculous. And I wish it hadn't.
Thank you. Thank you. No. What happens when it can feel like, because do you ever feel like aren't there always endless possibilities sometimes? Like, what happens if there's endless possibilities? How could I signal to you that I think we've reached the end of possibilities or alternatives?
I think I come pretty well prepared to the meeting, and I grab stuff pretty quickly too, so it's a little. My process moves rapidly, even though I like to do a lot. So the endless possibilities kind of becomes a way of avoiding making a decision to me, and I do value making a decision. So at some point in time, the alternatives are just beyond the pale, so not really worth considering, but that's how I deal with it.
All right, thank you. Do you see what we're gonna try and do is just like understand, and you all are more than like, let's use this to understand based on what we see, how we can help in the moment or help you get what you need, you get what you need, yeah? Okay, all right. Who wants to go next? I'm actually not gonna force you to go around robin, because what I really don't want you to do is to sit just waiting for your turn to talk. I'd really like you to take this valuable moment to really hear what people are saying. So if you'd like to get it out of the way, so you can get out of your own head, I'll have you go next. Who would like to go? Thanks, Jimmy.
My sentence was thoughts, no matter how final they appear, are subject to last minute modifications, whenever new information arises. And I think that I come to the council meetings very prepared. I've got a lot of history. Got the longest tenure on council, so I've got a lot of the background. And so, but if one of my colleagues, and I have changed I've come to the council meeting knowing the way I'm going to vote. And through discussion on the dais, I have changed my vote. Now, my colleagues sitting around this table may not know that unless they've had intimate conversations with me about whatever subject is being voted on. But if something new comes to the table, I do change my votes, and I don't know if that's apparent to most of my colleagues.
Questions, thoughts for Jeremy?
I would second Jeremy. Backing up whatever with that. The red twins over here does seem very impulsive. All of a sudden deciding end of the road, no more discussions, whatever. But that might be the way it seems, but like he said, without a discussion, without talking to him about that, may or may not be the case. So it could be a bit more misinterpretation of what we think Jeremy has been on. and what actually happens, so it does involve that communication. To get to the bottom of that decision.
We don't talk as often sometimes as we would all like to. But, I mean, there have been times when I think I know where Jeremy's going and all of a sudden. Get a shift, and it shifts. So, see, I'm assuming it's seeing change the vote. No, you are. No.
And Jeremy, if I want to have more impact and influence with you, what is the information that is most influential to you? What should I be thinking about?
Facts and data.
Facts and data. Okay. Thank you. All right.
I can go.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So problems and difficulties are simply challenges which exist to stimulate innovative responses for.
Okay.
And then, I'm not scared of the hard. And, I think the fact that I'm willing to deal in solutions, shows that I have a belief that we can actually get to resolution or outcome.
Okay, thank you. Well, it sounds like you're not dwelling on the bad stuff, right? It's more forward thinking, is that what I'm hearing?
And willing to do the tough stuff.
And is the tough stuff, like the stuff that has more conflict or disagreement around it, is that in your mind, what you're thinking about around tough stuff? Yeah.
Sometimes.
Why do you value that?
Because I think that's what our job is, which is we're challenged to solve problems or create, solutions for people. And we need to do that even when it's nuanced and difficult. So I think that just is reflective of what we're supposed to be doing.
I'm gonna bring us back to what we were talking about around trust, that idea of over declaring your intent. If there's anything as we're going around where you can just like be super explicit about your intent as you talk about these things, I think that's really useful. So if I were to think about you coming to me and having to have a hard conversation or to come at them, what's your intent usually? Because I heard you coming at it as far as, well, this is our job to be able to help do that. What's kind of at the core of your intent?
My intent is to, if I'm coming to talk to you about something, is to get some sort of agreement. I think the method that I use is to try to be respectful. I think that is the part that can keep us focused on what we're there for. So the directness is always hopefully sort of clothed in being respectful of you in the conversation.
Is it all right if I'm asking some follow-up questions? Is that okay? But I want you to go first if you've got them, but I'm just playing devil's advocate because I don't have any experience with anybody. So it's not coming from a place, it's just coming from what I know about these colors and decisions and how things can show up. Okay. Who'd like to go next? Amazing. Go ahead, Pierre.
I make decisions after a great deal of thought and may not be dissuaded by emotional or mental arguments. I like to have that information beforehand and I need time to process it. It's especially hard or challenging for me in executive session where we come into legally a confidential session, not open to the public, and we get information for the first time there. We gotta make a decision within a few minutes. I feel like sometimes we don't have time to process that information. That's been challenging for me. I'm not sure there's really an easy way to deal with that. It is helpful to hear what other council members, the way they think about it, that can help find a decision. But yeah.
So I'll actually double down here with that. It's not that I don't want to think things through or take time, but that added pressure of not having time for me is, I don't want to use the word trigger. But for me, then I have the anxiety of, okay, well, let's just get to it, get it all out on the table. Give us this word salad and let's do what we need to do out of it. Where Pierre is like, oh, wait a minute, hang on, I need some more information. I'm just calling him out because we're new. I need some more information, I need a minute. So I actually am on the opposite of him in those those standpoints, but I think it's good to even each other out as well.
What is in this room's control that would make it easier? I know you shared the constraints. Is there anything?
Well, I
that-
talked to Catherine a lot about this, and she said that prior to meeting her office, and some of the documents, just the two of us, maybe that would be helpful. More time in the executive session, so we're not rushed at the end, try to quickly make a decision, that's maybe not better too. But at the same time, I don't want it to be too long, some people may not want it, or something.
Yeah.
You see my struggle.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of stuff, what is legal advice in there. And. Being. Lawyer on the council, it's not my area at all, but I haven't, you know. I come to it with a better framework, I guess, but I also kind of know that, okay, if this is what the expert in that area is telling me, I'm probably gonna go with it. And that doesn't always feel comfortable, because we're supposed to make our own decisions about it. But it's hard to grasp it fast enough. And so that becomes sort of a default, is that if that's what the expert is telling me on this legal field, then I'm probably inclined to go with it unless I see something entirely different. And I don't know if that helps you. Probably gonna make you feel more comfortable with it, but yeah, that's how I deal with it.
I actually. If you haven't, make MRSC your friend. That's good. You can't, you have to go easy on yourself because it's going to. People find it incredibly patronizing, but it does take a couple of years before the zoning and terminology and so forth, but they are there to be that lawyer, that CPA, basically, and just provide a different point of view on, background material. And they give classes all the time, and then everything, who has the time, but they have a professional in every area that you can test, so.
And how useful is it to start feeling like we're in this together, like we're helping each other out? So I just want to acknowledge that there's not enough time, not enough time to be able to oftentimes do that. So, Jean, go ahead.
Sorry.
Did you have your hand raised to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel what, Pierre was saying, and I don't go out on details and stuff, and I think that in executive session, there's not enough opportunity to ask the questions, and for somebody that wants detail, it's like, yeah, you're expecting to trust the expert rather than being able to question the expert. So that's.
Thank you. You're off the hot seat. Thank you very much. Useful, yes? It's just useful to know what we're all processing and thinking through our lens. Great. Let's go next.
I'd like to go next.
Thank you.
For decision making, mine said, need proof, action is a result of long observation. And my caveat with that is that I feel like that's a default way of looking at things, but I try and challenge myself to think beyond that, because I know I can get stuck in the, like, we'll prove it that it works kind of mentality. And so I also kind of have to stop myself and go, okay, what's the innovative answer, or what can we see beyond the proof? Or like, if you haven't given me a use case or a case study that says this will work, then am I stuck in seeking out that evidence? I think it's easier to make a decision when I have the evidence, but I also know it can hinder innovation if you're like, well, that's never been done before, like, right? So So part of me is like trying to make that decision, but also kind of thinking about how I'm engaging in that conversation as well.
I do not do
We're gonna get to you in a minute. What might I notice, Mayor, in the moment when you're, or would I notice anything externally when you're trying to push yourself out of that a little bit, just for the sake of thinking all the way around it? What might I see or notice? Like, what's a signal to this room? Like, oh, she's trying to stretch out into that innovation here.
That's a good question. I don't know that it would be physically noticeable. I think I have to pretty actively be like, okay, let's stretch this idea, like, and I have to challenge myself to go with that idea. I'm not sure it would be obvious unless I vocalized it.
Yeah, it. Sometimes it comes across as sort of a paralysis by analysis. And therefore a default don't. And if there was a good way that you could share with us. You know, maybe there's a way that we can respond to you that's more meaningful. Cause I know, you know, sometimes we get frustrated with each other. Cause it's like the same thing. And we're trying to keep moving forward, but, you know, I'm certainly anything that you could come up with to sort of share. Trying to reach out, trying to look for the alternatives. That, I think that's pretty helpful to everyone wanting to think, wow. This is what we need. So.
And Mayor, can you read your sentence one more time that you?
Need proof action or is result of long observation.
Thank you. And can you share kind of to that point and talking about over declaring your intent? Why is that important to you, that kind of natural state?
Right. I think it's sometimes there's wasted energy and following things that are not going to materialize. And I have a pragmatic orientation of like, why are we spending time on this thing that will not work? And that is extremely frustrating. So if you have a proof that says this will work, this can solve this problem, or here's a tool that we can use over here, I'm going to be more inclined to listen to that rather than be like, oh, let's fantasize over here about this. Because I think there's a time and place for that. But when you're not bringing people along in that, you're losing audience members who want to do something that will actually integrate. But it is also, I think, a deficit. Like you need both. You need someone who's going to push the innovation. You need someone who can say, all right, but how do we get there? Yeah.
And I just want, as you look around, because there was a relatively high amount of you with blue, red, blue at your top, just know that there is a very natural tension. I mentioned it briefly, but that get it done right, get it done now, get it done right, get it done now. Like that is a tension that like on any given day, we're going to land on one or the other because that tension is there. So sometimes it can be useful to even, just share that that's what's going on. Like yeah, just that over declaring what's happened. Yeah. Any other questions from me? Useful? Okay. Who wants to go next? Robin?
Actually go next.
Yeah, sure.
I'm happiest in a role which allows, says her, me, to exercise my ingenuity to tackle one project after another. And so for my caveat on that is my personality is actually a problem solver. And so I'm happy being a part of what's happening. How can we get this done? And then I also am a results girl. So if I'm going to put all this energy into this, I'm going to spend all this valuable time. We can describe it however we like. Please include me. And please run it. Nice little package. So I think, you know, as Yoshiko was saying, I agree with you, let's not spend energy on things that are unrealistic and not something that can happen. But also. Again, as I said to Pierre. What is it? Take it off the list. Get her done, next box, that's how I operate it to be, because I have no free time. It's my it's my personality, I'm not wanting to consider everything. But like, the mayor was saying, let's spend our energy on the things that are actually accomplishable, that will help Robin check a box. Or what have you, right? So that's my algebraic equation.
Yeah, and you'll notice, I mean, we heard the check the box, move it forward. I think we all heard that. And when that's not happening, it's just useful to know what's happening for Rob, right? It's just, it's useful. It doesn't mean it's all gonna go that way, but it's just useful to know what you might be seeing. Because we haven't talked about yellow a lot, but just, you heard Robin say, like, involve me, like, I wanna be in the thick of it. What does that practically look like in a meeting? What might I notice? Because that's our yellow energy, that participatory energy. Very practically, again, talking to intent, in a meeting, talk to us about that involvement.
Sure, so for me, that looks like instead of talking. With me, it also looks like, understanding that I've already heard you. I've already processed that information, I've moved on.
Got it.
But if you'd like to go back and process it longer, I'm happy to let you do that. Cause I've already gone through it, spent that energy on it, I'm ready to move.
Anyone else have a question?
Do it, get it.
Well, it's funny because I've seen you at the flower shop, a member of the public come to you and I can see you, they're just venting, there's no really any problem solving. I know you want to just problem solve, get it done, get out there, and you're just there.
And actually, Kelly, can we speak on that? Can we speak on that? Because that's real
Yeah.
also, and I know I'm being taped right now. But there is a degree of people pleasing, especially in a front facing position. And as we spoke earlier, that sometimes the public just wants to vent. Which is fine, and I will take the blows and I'll stand there and I'll be that, listening person. But if we're describing me, not my front facing customer service business owner, whatever we wanna call that, that's not me being fake, that's just virgin. Right, so we're being brutally honest here, which is what we're doing, because we have to work together, we're being honest, that's what I'm talking about.
And by the way, you can authentically be dialing up that listening energy. And yes, it maybe isn't your favorite thing to do in a moment, but most of us will dial up or dial down to be most effective with the person that we are with or in the environment they're with. So what I hear Pierre acknowledging is that when you're in that situation, that one-to-one situation, you are being most effective with the member of the public by dialing up that green, even though you probably want to problem solve or do something else. So, yeah, that's the way to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. This may be just something to put to the side right now, but this is something JC said in the initial, is that we don't really have a dialogue. We have statements.
Yeah.
And we don't go through a dialogue decision-making process amongst us. That's not what we do at the dais. Is that an accurate way of saying what you led with the earlier?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we call it a party piece.
And as a consequence, I think this is a frustration. Also being both what Robin's saying, what Chico's talking about, and the endless alternatives problem. Those are all pieces of that, because at the dais, I could easily end up in a meeting that, drives everybody nuts because we're there till midnight, which some other councils do, which is a crazy way to try to run shit. But there might be something to put a pin in and say, this is something we might want to address, maybe in a different place or a different setting. So I'm kind of throwing it out there because I'm hearing a similarity that this might be an issue with the council.
Well, it sounds like it's coming at a cost, not being able to have dialogue is coming at a cost, or not having the dialogue is coming at a cost. Is there anything in the control of this council that could improve the feeling of it being more like a dialogue rather than statements? And that's not for anyone to problem solve right now. It's just a question to marinate on and consider as you move. Thank you. Appreciate that. Who's next? I know who's left, so you neither. Jean, I've already told you.
Then I may get frustrated with the ways.
Can you say it again, Jean? There was a bad plane right there.
Okay, I tend to get frustrated with other people's ways.
Got it.
I guess it comes part of, you know, wanting detail and that sort of thing, and Terry kind of touched on it. Statements being made, but not really. We're supposed to make a decision based on consensus, and that means we need to be talking to each other, not making statements. That, you know, this is the way it's going to be, that sort of thing, so. That I would appreciate a little more dialogue on the chance to, you know, discuss things amongst us. You know, we do have the constraints that the only three of us can talk to each other, sound majority, that sort of thing, so, it's kind of. I really bring the philosophy of, you know, if we wanna go far, we need to go together. And I think that sitting on the dais sometimes, that's not the opportunity.
Hard to feel like you're going together.
I'd like to comment on Jean though, as freshmen coming in, that I couldn't wrap my head around that for quite some time. You can just go talk to everybody. But if Shiko has reached out, if I have questions, please call her. Pierre comes into the flower shop with his kids, chats me up, right? I think it's hard to get us all together, which is also physically impossible. But if you can try to make the time, I think it could happen. Jeremy's come down and chatted me up a few times. I'm landlocked where I'm at, but it's still worth, specifically some of these discussions is worth taking the time to talk about it. And get a better understanding, get a history of it. Find out what happened last time, especially for Pyramid, since we have very little to go on. But it does take that small amount of effort to call. I promise if any council member wants to call me outside of business hours, I'm happy to have discussions. If you want to talk about it, just come on in and see me. But I'm happy to chat about things, because the more we talk about things, like Harry's saying, it's not just a statement, it is a discussion. And some of these decisions, like Harry's saying, these are big decisions that we are having to make. And without history or dialogue on it, I feel blind sometimes. So I think if, like Gene was saying, he needs more time, then just call, let's talk about it.
Thank you, Jean. JC, you wanna go?
Oh, I thought Jim was gonna do his style of decision making or something. I thought he was
Oh.
following that.
Did you do your decision making?
That part.
Yeah, so what was your decision making statement?
No, if you're done.
It's up.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Sorry, I misunderstood. Got it. I thought you meant verbally, but you meant, yeah, got it. Okay,
So I'm up.
you're up.
Okay, so I said that logical private decision based on analysis, objectivity, comma, determination. Wasn't really a sentence, was it? What else am I supposed to?
That's, just say why that's important to you, as far as that describing your decision making, what would be helpful for people to understand when they see that in you?
I've struggled deeply with government, because government is fundamentally different from the jobs that I've had, in that if I worked in government, you know, staff and stuff like that, it's a job. You have to go home, you have to survive. There is a focus on wellness and self-care and being a mom and stuff like that. Back in my day, in the 14th century, you know that movie Apollo 13? We got a vacuum hose and we are going to get this job done, and I don't care if all of you die in the attempt. Yeah, I mean, that was how Microsoft see the Virgin, because you said you worked in the empire, and they would have these things where it was like, you know, nobody gets out alive unless this product has this level of quality. We have 300,000 checks to read by 5 AM, and I'm almost done, but it's just urgency. Never injects itself into this process except in those executive sessions. That just sparks up the entire room, good, bad, or indifferent. But I have not gotten a sense. If you ask anybody in town, they always talk about the potential of Des Moines and so forth. And it's because you make decisions and then life goes on. And that is just intrinsically different from the environment that I worked in, where we are going to solve this problem. And that just conditioned everyone's thought process. We are, by this date, this thing is going to be fantastic, and everybody agreed that. You know, and that is, it's like, it's so fundamentally different from the way government works that it's a completely different.
So in your statement, I hear you saying, I'm wishing for that sort of environment, that urgency. Is that what you mean?
I mean that, I'm very comfortable saying, no, that's not correct. In an environment of 50 people. Because the consequences are that the product won't work correctly.
I see.
Okay. That comes across as coarse.
And what's your true intention?
I want the product to, okay, and it may be the case that we show up and the decisions that we make are the decisions within the box of the 3 hours. Or the information in the packet. It may be correct, it may not be correct. There may be the programming language determines the kind of programs you write. Okay.
Thank you.
So there may be far better options, but people are tired. They have vacations they want to go on, and so. You know, you work within the options of it being a job.
Yeah.
And so that sounds like however it sounds. But when people talk about how the city could be better or whatever, and they say, well, it's the best it can be, and I'm like, no, it's not. And that sounds like how it sounds.
And so your decision making, it sounds like that statement is just trying to drive that. It could be better. Thank you. Who's next? I think it's down here at this end of the table, yes? So Tim, go ahead.
Sure. Applies analysis and objectivity to discover underlying principles, relying on clear thinking to make decisions. And I mean, I think that a lot of that's just training. I mean, if I didn't rely on analysis and objectivity, we would be in a lot of. So I don't know that that's like outside life, but in here, I mean, that's what I was trying to do, so.
Thank you. Catherine?
Yes, I have, enjoys executive role and usually rises to challenges, although she needs someone around her with enough common sense to bring up overlooked facts and take care of important details. Which I think is a nice way of saying blue is at my bottom. And it's not that I don't value the details, because I understand how important they are. I think it's the sheer like volume of plates I'm spinning at any given moment that I can't remember all the details. So it's not uncommon, one of you all will call me and I'll be like, I have to go check that, or I have to go get your number. Cause I feel like my brain is already, like I said, like spinning like 4 dozen plates. I'm like, which plate do you want me to pull down? Okay, let me pull it down on my brain.
And so I think that sometimes it looks like I don't remember every fact, cause I don't. I just like need a second to go pull that plate or go to AJ and be like, what was the correct number?
Questions from the room that would be helpful based on real life?
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually amazed you keep that many plates. Whether you're remembering it's a gold leaf on the top or
Yeah.
something else, to me, that's not that important. But the fact that you just got the plates, that all those plates are still up in the air, that's impressive enough. So don't feel bad about not remembering whether it's a gold leaf or pink, something like, it's just China and you're keeping it, it's not breaking. That's good.
Yeah.
I think Kevin's statement helps us understand the expectations also. I think we take for granted that she's gonna know everything at all times because, you know, we just assume that's what her job is, but it's not. And so I think that statement helps us meet expectations Catherine has, so we don't have to put her in a position where it's too much. I think we can achieve that.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's like helpful. Yeah.
Jean, you're gonna.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you'll say you don't have the answer, but you'll go and try and find it, you know, rather than just saying, I have that. Right, it's, you know, that there's, it's almost like we're all having to be babysat, right? You know, having to have the information, it's like, you know, yes, I would get it, you know, and I think that's extremely helpful and it's extremely appreciated.
Bonnie, I think you're it. And if I wrote it all down correctly, so, all right.
4 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Mine is, she may value opinions over facts in considering a possible course of action. Which I do value people's opinions, but I also value facts, so it's a little bit not fact.
And what's useful for me to know about that in your role?
Well, my role, I need to know the facts,
Okay.
get things right.
So even though you like opinion too,
Like,
you need
yeah.
the facts.
I like to make people happy, and I'm not a people pleaser, I like to make people happy and, but I also think I can achieve, knowing all the fact that make people happy, I can do both.
Yeah.
When I read this, I mean, all these are from my, it says like, you know, great thing, but then kind of scatterbrain thing, I'm like, no, I think this is off, but. Probably more true than I think. but-
Yeah. I will say, if there are, on that note, if there are sentences in your profile that you don't agree with, there's usually 3 reasons why. One is that we just got it wrong. It's a computer. You're a complex human, so it's just wrong. That's absolutely a possibility. 2 is that perhaps it used to be like you, but you have developed out of it over time. You've gotten feedback, you've developed, you've grown, you've developed out of that thing. Or 3, and I think that's the one that possibly is more, or the most interesting, which is perhaps it is more like you than you think. And that's what we call a blind spot. And my recommendation around things that you've had a big reaction to, especially, is to just show them to someone you trust, someone who knows you, and just, have you ever seen anything like this pop up out of me? Like I'm checking my blind spots. I'm just checking on this one. Sometimes you'll just know it's wrong. My profile said that I am late to meetings often, and I am really never late to meetings. Like, I'm the weirdest person about time because of my mother. Has nothing to do with my profile, right? So these are things that they're good questions to ask yourself. Where does it come from? What is it? Why am I having a reaction to this? I believe that there is a year's worth of conversations in these profiles. I mean, we just took one statement basically and dove deeply into it around decision making. I think when you think about the work that you are here to do, what I would love to do, and I will not be late. But will you take 30 seconds and just talk to your neighbor about what was useful about this, and what is possible to be able to do something to keep the dialogue going? What is possible to keep the dialogue going? Just like 30 seconds, anything top of mind with your neighbor. I'm gonna collect your papers so that I can send it back out. Cool. You have an artifact. Yeah, thank you. That.
Say, you want to say again?
What would you?
What are we doing?
Yes, how can we keep this dialogue going?
How can we keep the dialogue going? Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of, saving more time. Right. More often.
So.
Oh, for sure, yeah, no, I think that. Good one-on-one and the dedicated time, yeah.
1 minute.
1 minute is right.
You have the dedicated time.
Yeah. All right, we are at time. I am going to send this back out as an artifact. I'm gonna send you a soft copy of your profile. I'm gonna send you the team wheel. I am available to anyone in this room. If someone hasn't said it today, thank you for doing this really hard work. This is and can be very thankless work, and thank you for doing it. I am grateful. And I don't even live here. So I'm grateful for people like you that are willing to show up and do this work. Thank you very much. Keep the dialogue going. Let me know if you need anything. You are free to go. Thank you. The blocks are yours if you want them. If you would like to recycle them with me, I will take them, but they might be interesting for you to keep it in mind as you